Welcome everyone to another episode of Retro Encounter. As always, I'm Josh Curry. With me is a great cast. We have Mike Sollosi.
Hello everybody.
Marcos Gaspar.
Howdy.
Beer Triezenberg.
Hello.
And making his Retro Encounter debut, John Tucker.
Hey everybody.
Now this is a very, very exciting bonus encounter episode. We're here to talk about what we at least consider to be the best RPG of all time, Tetris.
Well, okay. Let's be real for a minute. Maybe not the best RPG of all time. I think definitely the best RPG on the Game Boy. One of the best RPGs of the 80s, but I don't know if it's in my personal top 10.
So this is where you get into the logistics of best game of all time. But
yeah, we don't want to take.
Ignoring that,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a fundamental element of, because it made the entire video game industry, it made the RPG genre. I think by default, it almost has to be considered the best RPG of all time.
How many Game Boys did it sell, right?
All the Game Boys.
A ton.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's beyond the shadow of a doubt, hugely influential game, both as a handheld game and as an early RPG. But I don't know. I mean, it lacks. I mean, it has a timelessness to it.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say lacks depth. I was.
No.
Oh.
It's not. It lacks, the sophistication of modern dialogue and modern characters. But it's absolutely.
It simplifies the dialogue. You don't have terrible voice actors ruining the lines.
Okay, all right, that's true. I don't want to sound like. Yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm crapping on Tetris because I love it so much. But it's not really one of my all-time favorite RPGs. It's just it's like top 20, yeah, but maybe not top 10 for me.
I don't even know what to say to you right now, Mike.
Get out.
I'll just be quiet for a few minutes.
Why did you even want to be on the podcast if we're talking about Tetris being the best RPG? If you're going to say all these terrible things about it,
I'm not saying anything terrible about it, and we've even gotten feedback on the forums. Our conversations are more interesting if it's not just everyone agreeing that something's great. There needs to be a counterpoint.
I think that's fair, but if we're talking about any other game other than Tetris, when you have a universal acclaim of it being the best RPG, you can't then come in here and be like, oh, I don't know, maybe it's 5.
The tale of the straight block that fell from the sky is like one of the most important story moments in all of role-playing games. It's like up there with Aerith getting killed.
The straight block is so overrated. It upsets the game balance.
I don't think the game could function without the straight block, though. Like, where would we be?
No, you don't need a straight block. You have an L block. It does the same thing, but so much more.
Well, look, mathematically, the straight block is the most powerful character in the game.
See, and
we're talking about math? I thought we were talking about video games.
We're already getting into how deep this game's combat system is.
If you want to min-max it, yeah, straight block is the,
It's a crucial part of the strategy if you're
chumps.
The game. Man,
it's for somebody that wants no challenge. Oh, I'm just going to play a game with straight blocks. How can I screw this up?
What do you have against easy modes, Josh?
I want to be a real gamer. I don't want to just, play with my left hand while I'm reading a magazine with my right hand.
I question I was about to question what you were doing with the other hand.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was totally a Bayonetta, pre-release ad campaign that came to my mind.
Not in my Tetris.
No, that's the thing, is you can't do that with Tetris because it's so good. You think of how twitchy and fast-paced Bayonetta is, and it still can't compare to how enthralling Tetris is.
It's completely timeless.
We all know how that Bayonetta is already a great RPG.
And then the difficulty curve of Tetris, how the battle system speeds up as you go along and creates a greater risk-reward factor. It's perfect. I can't even think of a game in the past 20 years that has a difficulty curve that compares to it.
And those challenge stages, you can play them over and over again, and it's a little bit different every time. But
every game's a new game plus.
Unbelievable.
Every game is a new game plus.
Amazing.
Josh, when did you first discover Tetris? I mean,
I was born with Tetris. I came out like a square block.
Really? That must have been difficult for your mother.
I don't know. She didn't talk to me afterwards for a while.
To be fair, if she had, you wouldn't have understood because you were a baby.
I was too busy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Tetris was one of my first video games. It was really that and a demo of Prince of Persia on my family's old Mac were the first two video games I ever played. And
I know we're already talking about Tetris, but Prince of Persia, that thing, legit.
Oh yeah, the original Broder Run Prince of Persia is good, but it's not an RPG. We're only talking about RPGs on this podcast.
Sorry.
Tetris, it was one of the games that made me a gamer today, and even though I was maybe being a little disparaging at the beginning of the podcast, it's definitely one of the all-time greats. Its battle system is fresh and fun to this day in 2016.
It was the first game that I actually bought myself. You guys know I'm the old guy on the crew. It came out when I was in late junior high, so in high school. I bought a Game Boy just so I could have some Tetris, and I still I have a console now that plays like Game Boy games and NES games and stuff like that, and the Tetris permanently glued into the slot pretty much.
I mean, I think a perfect summation about how strong the Tetris brand is it was able to take the character of Mario and give him a PhD.
Dr. Mario is a Tetris spin-off. It wishes it was Tetris. It was Tetris.
That's what I'm saying. You're taking just a portion of that brilliance, and it was able to elevate just a regular Italian dude from a plumber.
Yeah.
To a doctor.
There was the time Kirby had an avalanche too. Kirby's Avalanche was probably it's the best Kirby game. That's objective fact.
No, dude.
In all fairness, Kirby sets a pretty low bar.
Kirby Superstar for the SNES is the best Kirby game, but whatever. That's not as good as Tetris either.
See, I really liked Yoshi's Cookie.
But it just goes to show
But it removed all the RPG elements, which
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is really where we're getting into the biggest problem, where all those games are Tetris-like, but they don't really capture the true, spirit of Tetris, like what makes Tetris such a great role-playing game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even some of the spin-offs, like Tetris Blast and Tetris Attack, Tetris Attack is really a Penelope game. I mean, those all... They're riding Tetris's coattails a little bit. I mean, removing the RPG elements and adding some bomb gimmicks and Yoshi gimmicks, it's not the same Tetris. And it's quite remarkable that, I mean, can we all agree the best version of Tetris is the 1984 Game Boy game?
Tetris on my Nokia phone back in the day was pretty cool, too.
Oh, okay. All right, sure. But, I mean, that's basically a port, but it's... Yeah. I think
you don't like the one that EA did?
No. And then even Tetris DS was okay, and there's been good recent versions of Tetris, but the best one, the timeless one, is a game that's 32 years old, and I think that's really, really something special.
Well, so I think you bring up recent Tetris. I think Tetris has been ruined in a lot of ways. I mean, Bejeweled became so popular, and it takes some of the elements of Tetris and just morphs into this abomination. And from that you get Puzzle Quest and all these other games, but they're interesting diversions at best. But at worst, you just sit there and you're like, I really wish I could just turn back time and go back to a simpler time, a better time, a time full of Tetris.
One of those games where you wish that you could wipe all the story out of your mind and play it again. And get And what's amazing is knowing, that came out of Russia during the Cold War. I mean, not a lot of appreciation in the West for stuff.
Not even Russia. That's the Soviet Union.
And in all fairness, one of the only things they succeeded in during the Cold War.
Yeah.
Basically, all we got out of them were Rubik's cubes and Tetris. So they're really good at colorful squares, and that's about it.
Did Rubik's cubes come out of the Soviet Union?
Yeah. I mean, Rubik was a Hungarian mathematician in the USSR.
It kind of explains why they didn't get anything done. Can you imagine trying to fight a war and be given Tetris and a Rubik's cube? Here, scientists, figure all this out, but here's two diversions. Oh yeah, you guys are gonna be super productive now.
I think you have discovered the secret to world peace.
No, that's why they lost, is because the Western world wasn't distracted by Tetris or Rubik's cubes until several years after the Soviets.
It was too late for them by then.
Oh man, I had never ever thought of.
Only is Tetris one of the most influential video games of all time, but it also saved the world from nuclear annihilation.
Yeah.
Wow.
We could all be living in Fallout right now. and have us occasionally glitch out into walls and have quest givers no longer there. So
That's not a
again,
world I want to live in.
again,
Flying
like
robot puzzle.
Tetris came in big for us. I just
Yeah. Don't underestimate Tetris, man. It's shaping the world. Democracy. What?
shaping.
Brother.
Shaping.
Oh God! That was not on purpose, guys. That was not on purpose. I'm kind of sorry about that. So when
Never
we were talking
apologize.
about the characters, do any of you have a particular favorite character? Like I think that line piece straight block is overrated. But and Josh, you mentioned that you really like L block.
L block all day, all day.
You think that L block has the best? You think L block has the best character arc in the game?
Well, I mean, it literally almost has an arc. It's.
Okay, true.
I mean, it's in the shape.
That's an angle.
It's multi-angled.
I think T block is super underrated.
T-block?
I gotta go with T-block as my favorite, but that's I came to it early. Last name Tucker, you kind of.
Yeah, you're kind of forced into that.
And with my last name, you'd think it would be S block or L block, but no, T block's my favorite as well. I think it just fits into so many configurations.
I think we can't understate the relationship between T and L. I think that's why there's so many of us gravitate towards it. They kind of fill that same hole in our lives.
Yeah, it's. I mean, maybe it's not as fleshed out as romances in like a BioWare game or that came later on, but they did a lot with what they had available to them. Think about how much you could fit on a Game Boy game cartridge. Not a lot.
Man, Tetris with modern dialogue trees, that would be really special.
Yeah, but only if they did it right. Because I've been playing through Dragon Age Inquisition recently, and I know people had this issue with Fallout 4, but I'm kind of getting ticked off sometimes where I pick a dialogue option and they don't really say what I expected they were going to say out of that. So
I also feel like you look at you mentioned Fallout and Dragon Age, and I mean they try to be these open world experiences, but at the end of the day, no matter what dialogue choices you pick, you end up at the same location. And I mean Tetris, it happened so much long time ago. Like every choice you make is a branching path, and it never comes back to a centralized storyline. And you think of how much just creative pull something off like that.
Yeah,
we're still trying to do that today.
The open world elements of Tetris really still hold up today. It's another thing on how remarkably ahead of its time Tetris was.
Yeah.
And I mean, going back to the characters thing, I mean, it would be really interesting seeing if they had sort of modern BioWare-esque dialogue trees, because I don't know. If anything, I think that would force the different characters into a kind of personality. When I first played Tetris, I sort of wouldn't like that, because I mean, really, it would affect my interpretation of these classic characters if it had a dialogue tree like that.
Yeah, maybe so. And I mean, again, you'd have to come down to the developer too, because what if they went, oh, let's be all stereotypy. Square Block is, he's going to be the big tough guy and, always angry at everybody because he's a big square guy.
That would be like making a movie out of Angry Birds. It just wouldn't work. No.
How dare you, Peter? How dare you? Warcraft movie's going to come out within a month of the Angry Birds movie.
Okay, I actually think the Warcraft movie looks good, and I know I'm in the minority on that one. But everyone's complaining that the Warcraft movie looks like cutscenes, and I'm just like, that's the point, guys. What were you expecting from a Warcraft movie?
Oh, and whatever, and Blizzard makes great cutscenes, but oh man, do you think if there was a modern interpretation of the Tetris RPG, it would have zoomed in cutscenes?
I bet it would have Blizzard's production values for sure. It would basically have to.
I would watch a Tetris movie in a half second.
I'd want that. Have you guys all played to the end of StarCraft 2?
I have not. No.
I know the ending. If you're talking about
It just, you know how it goes to like crazy anime goodness that's absolutely insane? I want Tetris to go there.
Oh man.
I want full episodes on like of them just like charging up their attacks and then just plunging into that hole and erasing a whole column or row. Like
Man, having one of Straight Piece's moves take up an entire episode.
Why is it always going to be the Straight Piece with you? Every time it comes back to the Straight Piece, you already said the T is the best one. Every time.
He's my favorite.
The first piece you always want to talk about is the Straight Piece.
Straight Piece is the most powerful one. It has the biggest attacks.
Yeah, it's like Straight Piece is the Goku, whereas T Piece is the Vegeta.
And look, Vegeta and Piccolo were always cooler than Goku.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though they're objectively not as powerful.
Vegeta gets to go God mode. Movie.
I actually just was talking about this with somebody the other day. Everybody talks about, like Superman is one of the least interesting comic book characters because the what makes a character interesting is their limitations, not their powers. And I think that the same goes for Straight Piece here.
Well, I'm as someone that actually likes Superman, even though I didn't like Batman v Superman. I think
that's normal. It's okay.
Yeah.
Nobody You're not in the minority.
Yeah, well, whatever. But I think there's some fallacy in that argument, but I see the basic gist of it. Like a lot of the time, what makes someone powerful interesting is their flaws. And while I would tell your friends to maybe read All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison, for Tetris, I think it does hold up. It like part of the reason why Straight Piece is an interesting character, even though he's objectively really strong, is because he's just strong and kind of a jerk, and whatever.
First of all, Superman is a ridiculously terrible character. I just have to say that. But since it's topical, this is topical, I am going to say the comic currently actually being produced by Max Landis, American Alien, is fantastic.
And if you want an even better interpretation of that kind of character, read Irredeemable by Mark Waid. Basically, where the Superman type character just psychologically snaps and decides to rule the world and destroy half of it. It's pretty great.
I thought that was the plot of half of Batman v Superman.
It's actually Batman v Superman wishes it was as good as Irredeemable. That's one of the past 20 years.
Batman vs Superman wishes it was good.
Sure.
That Batman v Superman wishes it was as good as Tetris, just to bring it full circle.
Well, nothing's as good as Tetris. I think
everything wishes that.
If you've listened to however long this podcast is and is going to be, and you only can listen to one part of the entire recording, you better listen to this sentence. Tetris is the best thing ever. Mic drop. We're done.
Boom. Just like amiibos, am I right, Josh?
Yeah. I swear, Mike, if you somehow send me a Tetris amiibo, and it is a Straight Piece.
If
man,
if there was
I will
Tetris
track
amiibo,
you down.
If there was a Tetris amiibo, I would buy 2 of all of them and then send half of them to you, Josh.
You can't buy that many because they'd be too close and then they disappear.
It's going to be an NX title.
I'd have to have each one in a different room of my house.
Exactly. And purposely position them so they don't create a full row.
If I had 2 Straight Pieces lying down side by side, they'd both disappear.
Just like all amiibos should.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
No love for the amiibos.
Happy birthday, Josh.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, this will basically be coming out on my birthday.
Yeah. For the uninitiated, Josh's birthday is in late March.
And he hates amiibos.
Yes.
And I sent him an amiibo as a birthday present, and he was. I'm still not quite sure if you're happy or upset because I got both messages at the same time.
I think that's accurate.
Sounds about right, actually.
Yeah.
You've known me long enough. I don't think I can be happy or upset about anything at the same time, or something. Yeah.
Okay, don't. I think you may have contradicted yourself there, but whatever. Tetris, not one of my top 10, but absolutely timeless, amazing game. If you haven't played it already, then you're dead to me.
Awesome.
Wow.
Does anybody else have anything they want to say, or did Mike sum it up perfectly for everybody?
I think Mike hit the nail on the head. I mean, like, you're not a complete human being if you haven't played Tetris, and you can't really say that about any other video game.
You're not a
maybe,
real gamer unless you
maybe Pokemon, but
No.
Even Pokemon put a Tetris piece in it.
It's true. Yeah.
Really?
I'm like, I know you know that name. Pull it out.
Right there in the first one, old missing no.
There's plenty of Tetris homages in Pokemon. Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say, what about what were those ones?
unknown.
Crap.
Yeah, the
But
unknown.
those are
That's what I
more
was thinking of.
alphabet letters instead of Tetris pieces.
Yeah, you can L's and T's, man. L's and T's.
That's true. Yeah. And S's and Z's and J's. Tetris, man, this whole podcast makes me want to just hang up and go play Tetris a little bit. I still got my GBA.
Well, you know what, Mike? I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to end this special edition, this bonus encounter of Retro Encounter. And we are going to go play Tetris.
Excellent.
Sounds great.
So, thank you everybody for listening. As always, you can jump on the boards and say whatever you have to say at us. This time, I'm convinced that you're going to be going on and agreeing that Tetris is the best anything ever, especially the best RPG ever. You can jump on iTunes, give us that 5-star review. You can comment in there, helps us out tremendously, and you can send us emails at retro@rpgfan.com. So, as always, really appreciate you listening, and can't wait to hear all the love from you guys about Tetris.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.